It always begins with a restless whisper deep inside, a feeling so subtle and elusive that you can't quite name it, yet it lodges itself in your gut and unsettles everything you think you know about love, desire, and connection. You believe you're chasing affection or acceptance, maybe even the kind of love that promises safety. But beneath this veneer lies a more dangerous and profound reality. You're wrestling with your own power, identity, and the very survival of your soul. This murmur, this silent ache, clouds your clarity, blurring the lines between true devotion and surrender, between genuine desire and the desperate need to possess. It is this indistinct terrain, fraught with unspoken fears and unacknowledged hungers, where most men wander blindly, mistaking the shimmer of surface emotions for something far deeper. Socrates, in all his fearless wisdom, did not shy away from entering this fog of confusion. He did not cast women as villains or saints, but unveiled them as enigmas, beings forged in layers of smoke, complex, strategic, and infinitely shifting in ways that defy simple understanding. Meanwhile, men are shaped more like a fire, with clarity, sharpness, and directness. This fundamental difference between the two is neither a flaw nor a gift. It is an unalterable reality many men refuse to acknowledge. And when they do confront it, they often see only their own reflection, projecting desires and fears onto her, and in doing so, fail utterly to comprehend the depths beneath her surface, mistaking appearances for essence. The paradox that governs attraction is mercilessly cruel and stunningly beautiful at the same time. What initially dazzles and enchants you is almost always bait. The beauty, charm, and warmth you pursue are the shimmering surface hiding a far more complex, unspoken game beneath. You convince yourself that you're seeking love, but often you're simply being tested for your discipline, your self-awareness, and your ability to maintain sovereignty over yourself. Men stumble and fall because they mistake submission for love, lust for loyalty, and flattering words for unvarnished truth. And when the illusion shatters, the blame is cast on her. But the real failure lies in the blindness of unexamined desire and self-deception. Many men construct shrines not to love or truth but to confusion, raising altars built from fragments of their fragmented souls and misplaced hope. They wear reason like a suit of armor but are shackled by an insatiable craving for approval, caught in a perilous dance choreographed by longing and fear. These men become soldiers, dazzled and disarmed by the glint of an enemy's blade, beautiful, fatal, and completely deceiving. The toll exacted by this self-betrayal is devastating. Fractured purpose, splintered principles, and an aching void where a solid soul should stand, eroding into emptiness, lost in a sea of illusions and self-delusions. Socrates warned that an unexamined life is not worth living, but the unexamined desire is even more dangerous, a poison that seeps slowly yet surely into the core of your being. Desire cunningly masquerades as love, weaving intoxicating illusions that lead men to sacrifice their values, missions, and clarity for fleeting warmth and hollow validation. This addiction to external affirmation is a slow, silent killer, spinning an endless loop that traps the soul in an ever-tightening cage of craving and confusion, leaving the man lost and drowning in his own unquenchable thirst without any direction or hope of escape. The truth you must face is harsh yet utterly freeing. You were never meant to orbit her like a satellite caught helplessly in her gravitational pull. You were born to govern yourself, to become the sovereign master of your own inner depths. This requires ruthless honesty, the courage to confront your own hunger without flinching, to dismantle the illusions you have clung to for comfort, and to walk a path that is often lonely, sharp-edged, and without shortcuts. But this is the only true path to freedom. The freedom to love without losing yourself, to remain steady and whole when the tides of affection shift unpredictably. The journey demands a fierce reckoning. You must stare down your appetite, confront your weaknesses, and unmask every illusion that clouds your clarity and judgment. It is not a task suited for the faint of heart or the comfort seeker. The world will call you cold, distant, or detached, because you refuse to bend to vanity, convenience, or fleeting emotion. But this very refusal is your power and your salvation. It is where true strength and sovereignty begin, where your soul begins to rise above the chaos and settle into unshakable truth. Picture yourself as a mast in a raging storm. Wind howls, waves crash, and the world tries to tear you down. But you do not break or bow unless it is by your own will. This steadiness is not about control, but about an unbreakable orientation, a fixed point in a shifting sea. To truly understand her nature is to illuminate it without suspicion, fear, or resentment. Become a philosopher of your own instincts, a master of your desires and drives. Stand firm, unshaken by her tests, and you will become a force of gravity, not crushing but steady, drawing and deeply anchored. She does not want a broken man worshiping her like an idol. She wants a whole man inviting her to walk beside him in rhythm with his truth, strength, and sovereignty. When you embody power rooted in reason and integrity, respect follows, not because you demand it, but because you deserve it. This is the paradox Socrates understood deeply. True power is never seized through force or manipulation. It is embodied as a quiet, irresistible gravity that invites alignment, not submission, and commands loyalty, not fear. Rise now, not in rage, not in apology, but with a clarity so fierce it cuts through illusion and doubt. Meet her challenges and tests not as threats, but as sacred trials designed to forge your true form. Build a soul that stands firm in its own light, capable of loving without losing itself, leading without domination, and finding peace not in illusions, but in unshakable, unwavering truth. This is the beginning of the man who walks forward unshaken. The road ahead demands more than mere courage. It requires relentless self-discipline and unflinching honesty with yourself. This is not a path you walk for applause or approval. It is a solitary journey of becoming, often misunderstood by those who mistake your resolve for coldness or detachment. But beneath that calm exterior burns a fire forged in silence, rejection, and clarity. A fire that cannot be extinguished by fleeting emotions or external chaos. This fire is the foundation of true sovereignty, the essence of the man Socrates revered, composed, measured, and impossible to control or manipulate. You stand as a fortress built from the hard-earned stones of self-mastery. When she tests you, when her voice rises or her affection withdraws, see these moments not as punishments but as sacred examinations, trials designed to reveal the true nature of your core. Do you crumble like a house of cards under pressure? Or do you hold your ground with the quiet strength of a mountain? Do you lose your way, swayed by shifting tides, or do you hold fast to your throne? Every failure chips away at trust, not because you are inherently unworthy, but because you have shown that your kingdom is built on sand, unstable and easily washed away. The woman is not your enemy. Your greatest adversary is the weakness you refuse to confront. To walk this path is to embrace solitude and discipline with open arms. You will find yourself standing where few dare, in the silence of self-mastery, unmoved by flattery, rejection, or the noise of a world obsessed with transient pleasures. Your peace will never come from her compliance, warmth, or approval. It will come from the unshakable clarity of your own inner court, a throne you build and defend with relentless integrity. The man who depends on external validation has no flame within. The man who holds his line becomes a beacon, a gravity, that draws others toward something real and lasting. Socrates taught that love is not a form of worship, but a manifestation of sovereignty. She does not desire a man who kneels and begs, but one who stands with unwavering principle, whose life is governed by truth, not persuasion. When you embody this, you invite her to move with you, not as a prize to be won or possession to be controlled, but as a partner in the rhythm of strength, virtue, and mutual respect. This is the highest form of power, harmony forged in sovereignty, not dominance. You must reject the world's temptation to submit to her moods, to soothe and please at the cost of your own integrity. Each time you fold to win favor, you set a precedent for future folding until you become unrecognizable to yourself. There is no intimacy without integrity, no love without sovereignty. The man she cannot leave is not the richest or most handsome or most charming, but the one who could walk away and still be whole, whose soul does not flicker like a candle in the wind but burns steady like a beacon in the darkest night. The soul chained to another's presence is fragile and forgettable. It flickers and dies when the light fades. But the man who holds steady through rejection and loss, who smiles in the face of abandonment, becomes a force of gravity she cannot resist. This is not cruelty, but clarity, an unyielding strength forged in the furnace of self-possession. You become untouchable not by hardening your heart, but by cultivating wholeness, by refusing to be fragmented by the shifting tides of affection and approval. In Plato's Symposium, Socrates speaks of love as a ladder, ascending from the love of one body to the love of all beauty, then to the love of wisdom, and finally to the divine. Most men never climb beyond the first rung. They rot at the bottom, trapped in pleasure's pit, never asking what love is meant to point them toward. But you, listener, are called to climb, to see her not as an end, but as the beginning of a question, the gate, the wind, not the kingdom, or the sail. Your strength lies in mastering yourself, in outgrowing the need for her to define or complete you. Let her remain mystery, paradox, and wildness. Let her be woman in all her complexity. But you must be man, measured, examined, enduring, unmoved by flattery or rejection, and undistracted by the glitter of what fades. Dignity is not a gift bestowed by others. It is forged in silence, in rejection, in the cold clarity of solitary nights when no one watches. This is where Socrates would have you build your kingdom, not in her arms, not in her validation, but in your own unshakable inner court. You were never made to kneel at the altar of affection. You were made to stand guard at the gates of truth and defend them with your life. This is the truth Socrates lived and died for, and it is the truth for you today. Master your own nature, understand hers without fear or illusion, and rise beyond the lies that bind you. That is your calling. That is your dignity. That is the beginning of a man who walks forward unshaken. If this message stirs something deep within, share it. Let it echo beyond your own silence, becoming a ripple that awakens other men lost in the fog of confusion and craving. The world does not need louder voices but clearer ones. Be that man, walk forward unshaken.